G'day, welcome to Mt.Coramba Apiculture. It's Sunday, 7th of May 2023, up at Nymboida. Beautiful autumn day. Very cold in Nymboida this morning, overcast and quite cool. Weather's predicting a cold snap to come down off the tablelands towards southern parts of New South Wales, snow down to 900 metres, so it's going to get a little bit cold. We don't have to worry about that here, however we'll feel the effects of that. So just taking the opportunity to bring some frame feeders up this weekend. They've been in the freezer, going through that treatment process to bring them out of the red zone in Nymboida up to the blue zone here. So that's all been done under permit. So frame feeder will go into each one of these 15 3 to 4 frame nukes. So that'll bring them down from 6 frames down to 4, and I'll give them a couple of litres of sugar syrup each, just to make life a bit easy for them at the moment, so they're not out foraging. They can just get those resources into those frames and hopefully build up into a 4-frame nuke over winter. So the sugar syrup's 2 to 1 by volume, so two big 1 litre scoops of white sugar and a litre of water. So there's 30 litres of that brought up here, so they'll be able to put that into those frames fairly quickly without too much effort. So that's the general plan with the nukes. Also, if I've got time, I'm just going to sort of winterise some of these 10 frame boxes by putting a sheet of builder's plastic in between the brood box and the honey super. So may also pull a few frames out of the brood boxes if they haven't got too many resources in them, and just replace that with honey. I may not get through all of them today, but certainly some of the doubles rather than the triples, just to make life a little bit easier for them. So yeah, sun's coming out. It's a beautiful day. It's nice to be up at Nymboida, away from everything, and yeah, so we'll hop in here and have a bit of a look and see how we go. So we're at our first nuke here. There'll be a couple of frames of foundation here we'll take out. So these are the feeders I'm putting in. So they're Man Lake feeders. They're basically a frame feeder, an internal feeder. So you can fit about 4 litres in here. For today's purposes, I'm only going to put about 2 in, because 4 will be just way too much for them. So fill that cavity up with sugar syrup. This sieve type thing in there fits in, so the bees can get in and take the sugar syrup, but they won't drown. So they're a really good design, and I quite like them. So I've also got top feeders that I'll bring up eventually too, and show you how I use them, that are designed specifically for these 6-frame poly nukes. But this is what we'll use today, and when you see inside, I'll show you the advantages of using them at the moment. So let's get into this hive. They're doing really well. See, they're covering almost 4 frames there. So the objective is to pull these couple of frames of foundation out that they haven't worked on yet, and replace it with the frame feeder. So they're just starting to draw that one, so that's really promising. This nuke's doing really well as the sun just comes out now. See, starting to pull that frame that side, and some nice resources in there, capped honey and pollen. So they'll take this sugar syrup up really nicely and fill those frames out. Just give them a nice little boost for winter. Nice frame of brood once again. Bees are just sitting beautifully on the frame, lovely calm, really good temperament. There's a nice frame of brood. They look really good. So this last frame, last wall frame, So yeah, they've just started to draw that as well, so that's looking good. So this boost of sugar syrup will just give them the resources they need to get into winter. So I'm just going to turn that frame around to encourage them to draw that side. Pull that back in. You can see this frame feeder just nicely fills that spot where the two frames of foundation were. Pull that out. Use my very technical funnel here, which I made at great expense this morning, and just pull up. Let's give that syrup a nice mix. And 2 litres in there. Come out, put a strainer back in, and they'll find that really quickly. So let's push that in nice and tight. Back there. So that's them set up. This couple of frames of foundation will just go and get put back in the stack over the junk pile over there, and they're good to go. It'll be interesting to see just what they put away in the next week. That'll give them a nice kick off into winter. Do a few more and then I'll just get on with doing the whole 15. So onto this second nuke, the one next door. Once again, they're looking good. So the plan is to, once again, just pull these couple of frames of foundation out. You can see they're just starting to draw that, so they're doing well. Quick look at what's going on in here. Feel the weight in that. That's a full frame of honey in there. So they've got plenty of resources. Nice frame of brood. This beautiful morning sun. There's our queen walking around there. It's looking good. Second frame of brood. Nice and healthy. Plenty of stored pollen in there. This is the first frame of foundation that I put into them. That's nicely drawn on that side, and can do a bit better there. So we'll turn, once again, we'll just turn that around. Just encourage them to draw that undrawn side. Pull all that back. Put our frame feeder in. Pull that out. Just giving that syrup a bit of a stir to suspend some of the undissolved sugar in there. It's a really thick mix, so even though it was mixed up in hot water, it hasn't quite fully dissolved, but the bees will sort that out. And 2 litres. Sieve back in. actually find it pretty quickly and get into it, so they'll tidy all that spilt stuff up. Let's pull that back a little bit. They look really, really good. I'm really pleased with how they've gone. So on to the next couple. Next one here, I actually had to skip a couple because my phone overheated. There you go. This one, this hive had a bit of chalk brood, so sort of expecting it to be a little bit behind the others, and definitely a feed of sugar syrup will give it a nice lift. So let's pull that out. This one can come out as well. Feed her in. Let's take a look what's going on here. Partially drawn. I had a frame back here with a bit of honey stored in it, so I'll put it in. See, that's just got a little bit of nectar in it, so we'll throw that in, but turn it around. Right, they'll be able to use that. See what this chalk brood looks like. Yeah, looking great. There's a bit of brood in there, but say out of all of these little 4-frame nukes, they're probably the worst looking. Let's have a look in here. See how they look. Feels much heavier. Yeah, there's a bit of brood there, so the sugar syrup will definitely help these. Just give them a nice lift, and see how they look in the spring. There's the queen wandering around there, but see how they look in the spring. But this will definitely give them a helping hand, which they desperately need. So we'll get that out of there. I think it's probably 2 litres in there, so just tip it straight in. That's good. Tidy that up. Put our strainer back in. Yeah, that'll give them a much needed lift. Probably come back and feed them again, I'd say. So, been through and put those 15 feeders out, so all these little nukes have got a feed. I just wanted to point out this one and I guess justify why I'm doing this. People get very worked up about feeding sugar syrup, and to be blunt, I don't really care what they think, but this hive here has really got no stores at all. So there's that frame in against the wall, and going into a brood frame. Straight away feel it's really light, and there's a little bit of honey, capped honey here, and there's no uncapped nectar in this hive at all, which indicates there's nothing coming in. There's the queen sitting there, and a little tiny patch of brood. Tip that over. There's nothing, no stores at all in that frame. So they're as dry as dry. And had they not been fed, they would have died very quickly. So this frame's a little bit heavier, and yeah, that's only brood. So there's actually no stores in that hive at all, and had they been left another week, they'd have been starving. There's a tiny little bit of honey there, and you can see them uncapping it to eat it. So it's only takes a blast of cool weather, which we're going to have, and quite a lot of these nukes could have been in that position, so there's a little tiny bit of stored honey there. So really, you know, very poorly prepared for a cold snap. So they've got almost a full frame of sugar syrup there. What I'm going to do is just, got a little bit left over from the others, so I'm just going to top them right up, and probably come back next week and just revisit these hives, bring another 20 or 30 litres up and just see what they take in. So that's got that frame feeder fill to the top, and they will very much appreciate that bit of energy to see them through. Might also think about bringing a bit of protein up too, so a bit of pollen supplement just to kick them along as well, so there's not a lot of pollen in them. So that's sort of justifying what I'm doing and why I think it's needed at the moment. So don't be frightened to feed your bees. Don't listen to people who say you can't feed them sugar syrup. You need to keep your bees alive. One of the things I'm going to do next few weeks is just set these hives up for winter. When I say winter, you know, we're not in Manitoba or Idaho. Really, bees don't recognise the winter here, in my opinion. I mean, it gets a little bit cold, but certainly not enough to freeze them or anything like that. So I'd expect we'll get a few frosts up here, but not enough to cause them any dramas. But what you can do is just make their life a little bit easier. So this soup has got quite a few stores in it. Nice frame of pollen there. The rest of it's stored honey. So I've pulled frames of honey up out of the brood box. So just get down into the brood box here, see what's going on. Want to make sure this hive's queen right and see what's going on down here. So, spray my honey, plenty of beetles, more honey. Honey there, no brood. Honey, still no brood. The honey frame. Hopefully find a frame of brood here shortly. There we go. So a little tiny bit of seal brood there. More seal brood. Not setting the world on fire. Anyway, they're queen right and going. A little bit of pollen there, so a little tiny bit of seal brood. I'm not doing great. Not sure what it is. Got frame back in. They're okay. Just going to leave that queen excluder out. Just to make life a little bit easier for them. It's often common just to put a bit of plastic over here, like this bit of this black builder's plastic, so the bees can get up into the next honey super quite readily. It just keeps them nice and warm down in this bottom box. So you just got to not work as hard to keep the hive warm. So we'll just put that in there and see how they go. That's quite a common thing we do just here with this cold snap coming, and just helps, makes life a bit easier for them. So that's got me through all those hives. All those little nukes have been fed with sugar syrup, 2 to 1. I'm really pleased that I made that decision to feed them because things are tightened up quite a bit up here. There's no fresh nectar in the hives that I can see, so they're back on to stores. At least one of those nukes, as you could see, was almost at the point of having no stores at all, so pretty dry. And there, not much to go on there, so certainly if I'd left that another week or two, they'd have been dead. So I think in general terms, I've just got sugar syrup on them at the right time. I'll be back up next week with probably another 30 litres just to make sure they've got enough, and just to see that they've taken that up, and I'll give them another hit just to make sure they're okay. Might also look at bringing a bit of protein up as well, so some pollen supplement just to kick them along. And I noticed that the bigger hives, that the 10 framers are right back to 2 frames of brood, so not sure why that's happening. I think they're aware of something that we're not. Could be a hard winter coming, but I think I'll bring a bit of protein up and give them a bit of a feed as well, just to rule out nutrition as an issue for the bees. So in general terms, quite happy with how things are going. You can see that little bit of video I had there of the bees taking that sugar syrup off the buckets. They're certainly tightening up, and they're hungry, so I'll have to keep a bit of an eye on them the next month or so to make sure they've got enough stores to get through the winter. Anyway, thanks for watching my videos. If you enjoy them, if you wouldn't mind just liking and subscribing, and if you think it's worthwhile, if you can let your friends know as well that the videos are worth watching, and it just boosts my numbers up a little bit, so I really appreciate it if you could do that. So thanks for watching. See you later.